Hello and welcome back to another episode of Star Wars Alliance. Of course, I'm your host Clay, and with me, well, nobody's with me. Uh, not for too long though. We are making our way to Acolyte. Next week, we have 6 days until Acolyte is out, which means we have 4 weeks until Katie comes back. So, guys, I promise it's not going to be too much longer that you'll just have to listen to my voice over and over and over and over and over again. Katie will be making her return soon enough, and it's going to be great. Now, I will say this. I was kind of hesitant to record today. Looking into what we had as far as news, there wasn't really any. There has been, don't get me wrong, plenty of pieces out there that have been promoting Acolyte. The red carpet was just a few days ago, as well as the UK red carpet. So both red carpets have already been premiered. There's interviews, there's all sorts of things that you can watch and look into to hype yourself into this premiere that is happening on June 4th. I am not watching any of that. I want to be as blind as I could possibly be into this series. Um, which isn't saying much considering me and Katie read every High Republic book. So, am I blind to this or am I not blind to this? That is yet to be seen because us as readers, and don't get me wrong, we have covered here on the show that Leslie has stated that, you know, the pocket of which she is kind of writing or sorry, filming and putting into the series is at the back end of the High Republic. So realistically, some of the characters that we already know outside of Vernestra Rowe may not even be in the living world in the Star Wars universe. So it's really hard to say whether how blind High Republic fans really are. Um, which is why I decided, hey, instead of just like completely sidestepping today's episode, let's go ahead and jump into a what you need to know. That's what we're going to be doing today. It's not going to be a very long episode because I don't want to even get people to, I don't want to spoil people on the book front of the High Republic because the Acolyte might actually get people to go towards the books and get more of that type of content. So I'm going to give you the bare minimum. I'm going to give you the elevator pitch. I'm going to give you slightly more information on the the elevator pitch itself, the era, and you know all of that stuff. So uh I will make sure that oh, Katie is actually messaging me right now. She's asking if I have already recorded Temptation of the Force. She has already written her review, her very non-spoiler review for Temptations of the Force. We did see that there was a lot of that embargo going up already, or going down, up, down. What's the right phrasing for that? Either way, um, Katie does have that out on her Twitter. If you go check it out, you can easily go to our Star Wars Alliance Twitter page, and we did repost it. So go check that out. The review for the High Republic Temptation of the Force, if I can look at the calendar here, for us is not going to be coming out until uh until Thursday the 13th. That is going to be a double drop episode of the second episode review of Acolyte, as well as the Temptation of the Force review. So, really quick, just going to respond to her. Yes, I already recorded. And it has a surprise guest. So, be on the lookout for that very, very soon. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna be giving a little bit of insight on some of the uh like I said, what you need to know jumping into the Acolyte, which from what I have heard, because again, I am not looking at any reviews, any reactions, or anything for the Acolyte, but a lot of people are saying it's a great jumping on point, and you need to know X, Y, and Z. So I'm just going to relay that message. Very easy, very simple. And the only reason why I know about those reactions or set examples is because Katie has related to me. I haven't gone out and uh, done it myself. So, before we jump into that, though, I do want to look over some of the things that Katie and I have been sharing within our Star Wars Alliance chat through this past week. Um, One of which is well, I guess the biggest thing for me personally, we have a trailer for Star Wars Hunters. It is a gameplay launch trailer. Shows the first gameplay uh, of the Mandalorian. Aran Tal is the character, and I will say this: it doesn't look great. Um, The few times that we saw this, I believe one of the biggest platforms, I think the biggest platform this was supposed to be was for the Switch. It definitely looks like a Switch game. Take that as you will. But honestly, the graphics are heavily influenced by Fortnite. Um Very, very cartoony looking character models. Um, and the reason why I say it doesn't look great, I know the joke about stormtroopers about how like you can shoot so many shots and it not hit anybody and da da da. That's with every character in this trailer. Like you're shooting and it's not like quote unquote killing any of these players. Um, I don't know from what I see here. Oh, actually, I said Switch. It says download June 4th, 2024. And it says Play Store, Google Play. So it's the Apple App Store, Google Play, and Switch. There are no big platforms such as Xbox, PlayStation, or PC that are picking up this game. That tells me a probably not going to pick this game up. Not even going to attempt to play this. Um, Even if it is like a free to play game, like that's an even better question. If it's for the Switch, it says download June 4th, so I'm assuming it's a free to play game. Uh, yeah, I don't know if this is going to be a game that I even try out. It does have a character here called J3DI, so Jedi. So it's a Jedi droid with a lightsaber, very clever. But yeah, uh, the game exists. Not gonna play it. Moving on. Let's see here. What other things did Katie share with me throughout the week? There's a lot, like I said, a lot of promotional for the Acolyte that I did not want to read or slash watch. Oh, one thing. Um, there was a lot of stuff happening, I think, recently. I think it was at the Cannes Film Festival thingy. I don't follow that. um George Lucas, for his 80th birthday, was like awarded something, I'm pretty sure. I can't remember. But there was a lot of interviews, and he gave a lot of his feedback on some just random Star Wars stuff. You know, there was a quote from him this past weekend that was talking about how, talking about the criticism towards Star Wars throughout the years, and how people don't like it, and specifically the prequels and whatnot. And George Lucas was like, They were for kids. I apologize that your adult mind did not enjoy something that was supposed to be a kids movie." And I immediately, and thank you, Chris, of course, host of the Marvel Alliance podcast, joined me in laughing at my response. Um, I just gave the gif of Freddie Prinze Jr., um, and it's from the interview where he says that it's for effing kids. Like, the entire franchise are for kids. Original trilogy, kids. Prequels, kids. Sequels, a new set of kids. It's just what it is. It is, honestly. Um, but he was, like I said, he just gave a whole bunch of random responses. That specifically was that one. Um, let's see here. He says George Lucas says the new Star Wars projects have a lot of talent, great ideas, and production. I feel like they come from my children, and sometimes it hurts a little when they grow up and get away from you. So, like, and he's also come out and said, like, I don't have any control over that because I gave that up. That was my choice. Blah blah blah, and that's true, and that's okay. Like, he's, still the grandfather of Star Wars, and he created this baby. Like, it's totally fine. A little bit of an update on possible update, should I say? Take with a grain of salt here. It says here, Pedro Pascal is getting ready to film scenes of the Mandalorian and Grogu? Question mark. And a new post by Pedro's hairstylist, the Mandalorian's hair department, Maria Sandoval, commented, "I'll see you both soon. I hope." Is this a sign that he'll be filming soon? Um, I would probably say yes. But again, we've debated on whether, well, it hasn't really been a debate. I think me and Katie have both said being in a movie theater is a complete different setting than that of just being on Disney Plus. When he has made his choice of, like, hey, you know, uh, uh, I can just do the voice for Mandalorian for now, and then move on and do other things. Whereas being a theatrical production, a lot of people try to get the face in there. And that's just with anything, not just with Star Wars stuff. But of course, we've seen in every single Marvel movie, nobody keeps on their superhero mask or cowl or whatever. They, you eventually see their face. That's what the, production pays for, is the actor's face. Sometimes, whatever. Um, I still prefer heroes just to keep their mask on, but it's whatever. That's a completely different conversation. But here, I would enjoy to see Pedro Pascal in The Mandalorian and Grogu. Again, we have been very hesitant to get super hyped about this movie because there's a small chance that the Mandalorian and Grogu movie is just a highlight reel of what seasons 1, 2, and 3 were for the Mandalorian. I don't think that would be the case, but you never know. So there's that piece of news there, as well as trying to find one more thing. I'm pretty sure. Uh, so this one I did not get to actually read through. I wanted to, but never had the chance this week to get to it. Trying to see, right here. So Headland answered uh ambitiously and uh uh enthusiastically about how many seasons the Acolyte can have. And she says, at least 3. At least. I mean, I'd love to keep doing it forever. I would be chill if this was like my only job for a long time. So she's looking to have three. Again, we have to see how well season one does. I think season one is going to do very well, considering this is not going to have the lightsaber problem. Of course, anybody who is jumping onto this podcast, one thing that me and my co-host Katie have always talked about when it comes to Star Wars and the lack of viewing for whatever shows, that of course Andor, or at the beginning Rogue One. Let's see here, what was other things? Can't think of it off the top of my head. But the idea of it is, well, the Mandalorian as well. Well, I think we've talked about how that doesn't suffer from the lightsaber problem, but there is this theory that general audience don't really gravitate towards Star Wars projects that don't have lightsabers. It is the lightsaber problem. So this show, The Acolyte, is going to be about Jedi Padawan. We've seen in the trailers lightsabers are very prevalent, so that's not going to be a problem, which means that the general audience will eat this up like hotcakes. So I am confident at least we will probably be getting a season two. Season three, we will see. We will see. I'm really hopeful as well. Um, Headland is playing in a very unique spot in the timeline of Star Wars at the tail end of the High Republic and 50 years before the prequels in Episode One. There was recently a book called The Living Force that is literally weeks before the Phantom Menace. So I'd be interested to see if there's like time jumps in the Acolyte that Headland is planning, or anything else. So yeah, I think it'll be very, very fun to see how far and how long this show will go. So anything else on the docket for news? I don't believe there is. Now, there are two things, two statements, if you will. One from Kathleen Kennedy and one from Leslie Headland herself. The first one I want to read is from Kathleen Kennedy. Kathleen Kennedy says, I think a lot of women who step into Star Wars struggle with toxic fandom attacks a bit more because of the fan base being a male dominant. They sometimes get attacked in ways that can be quite personal. Operating within these giant franchises now with social media and the level of expectation, it's terrifying. It's unfortunate. Um Now I would like to, I don't know if the numbers could be crunched because I feel like the fandom overall is very, very large. Um like it like honestly, freaking Celebration, Star Wars Celebration. Sorry, I couldn't think about it. If you go into Star Wars Celebration and get a for sure estimate, not a rough estimate, a for sure estimate on the male to female ratio there, and then um kind of base that, because I think that's the largest Star Wars fan base gathering. Um then you can see if that's necessarily true. Because I'm not going to immediately say, "Oh, Star Wars is for boys," so that's why there's a male dominant, uh, fan base. Like, no, like I think she is saying that in the sense of just because their voices are louder when it comes to the toxic fandom, um, of that misogynistic attack towards these women. Um, But this is also going into the statement by Leslie Headland. She says here, I know how frustrating some Star Wars storytelling has been in the past. I stand by my empathy for fans, but I want to be clear: anyone who engages in bigotry, racism, or hate speech, I don't consider a fan. Say it louder for those in the back, please. And we've specifically seen this from even those stars in the shows. Freaking Obi-Wan Kenobi himself, Ian McGregor. I'm pretty sure was it before the premiere? Like, came out and said, "Hey, bigotry and racism in this fandom are, you are not a fan if that is so, like, if that's the way you think." Like, people can say that they're fans of Star Wars, but when they do those types of things, when they willingly say bigoted and racist things towards these actors, these characters, these concepts of storytelling, you're no longer a fan of that. You are a gatekeeping piece of crap. That's what you are. You like one little thing, and guess what? It's probably the lightsabers. There's sword fights in plenty of other different things. Go to those things. Oh, but you like the Force. It's like a superpower thing. There's plenty of other superpower things in storytelling. Go to those. Star Wars is not your place. Sorry. It's just the way it is. So I'm very glad that we are getting more and more comfortable with calling out the bullshit. So yeah, I'm really really glad that they are getting ahead of this and throwing that out there. Um, because again, there has been this very weird, like, anger from people who claim to be fans, who are like, they're angry at the fact that there's aliens in Star Wars, you know, in a galaxy far, far away where Yoda is a green, creature, the species yet unknown. At least I think so. Don't hate me for not knowing that. Um, there's freaking Plo Koon, like people's favorite on the council. Like, these are all aliens. Obi-Wan Kenobi, an alien. Anakin Skywalker, an alien. Padme, an alien. Like, they're all aliens. They're not from Earth. So in your concept of what an alien is, all of these characters are aliens. Now, some may look humanoid. They're not. They're not humans in the sense of what we think humans are. So, yeah, Earthlings, should I say? Um, so I think it's so silly for people to get upset in that kind of very idiotic thing. So, that is it for all of the news. Katie literally just shared that StarWars.com actually has a segment. Who is Vernestra Rowe? Now, we will get to Vernestra here in just a second. But I want to go over the era in which this show is kind of bookending, which is the High Republic era. The High Republic was a book franchise that was officially released in 2021. Uh, the event that was like where it was announced was back in 2020. Um, I did not. I got into it, I think, after. Well, I think right as it released. I was not officially a part of Star Wars Alliance at the time, and I didn't start reviewing it until I think the third book in. So, um, that's when me and Katie really started to jump into this and start uh, going on our little adventure through the High Republic. So I'm going to read off the opening crawl of that very first book for what is considered phase one, and we'll go from there. The galaxy is at peace, ruled by the glorious Republic and protected by the noble and wise Jedi Knights. As a symbol of all that is good, the Republic is about to launch Starlight Beacon into the far reaches of the Outer Rim. This new space station will serve as a ray of hope for all to see, but just as a magnificent renaissance spreads throughout the Republic, so does a frightening new adversary. Now, the guardians of peace and justice must face a threat to themselves, the galaxy, and the Force itself. Now, that threat, I think this is not a huge spoiler for those who want to go into the books and read the High Republic. The Jedi do not face the Sith, who is what we have always been, told is the, you know, opposite and rivals of the Jedi. Um, they face these entities known as, uh, uh, oh my gosh, I literally was just about to say it and then it just left me. The Nihil. Oh gosh, I'm choking, guys. Oh my god, Katie, where are you? Um, is the Nihil. They are pirates, space pirates. It's a very fun interaction. It's a very dark story. I'm going to tell you that. Uh, but for anyone who is interested in the High Republic and who has a family who loves Star Wars, these entries into the High Republic have a young reader's book, a teen novel, and an adult novel. So each and every book adds something to the grander story. Do you need to read every single one of them to get that story? No. Will things make a little bit more sense if you read everything? Yes. I will be completely honest. I have not read the there's a young reader's and I think there's like a toddler's book as well. So there's a toddler's book, a young reader's book, a teen book, and then the adult novel. Um, through waves of these phases that they released in the High Republic novelizations and releases. So phase one is called the Light of the Jedi. Phase two is the Quest of the Jedi, and phase three is the Trials of the Jedi. Um, Currently, as of today, we are in the middle of Trials of the Jedi, which is to be concluded in 2025. The Quest of the Jedi Phase 2 and Light of the Jedi Phase 1 have been completed. So anybody who would like to jump onto those can go right into it. Um the High Republic era is where the Jedi are at their peak. They are flourishing in the Republic. They have, you know, probably the best numbers that they have had as Jedi. Um, And like the opening crawl said, the galaxy is at peace, something that we have not really ever seen in Star Wars. Um, and you definitely technically don't even see it in the High Republic because it opens with what that adversary in the Nihil and the chaos that ensues immediately after. Um, it's great. I will say this one thing that Katie told me um, was people are saying that this show, The Acolyte, is a great jumping on point. And the only thing that you need to know is the basic concept of Star Wars. Okay, the basic concept of Star Wars. There are a group of individuals known as Jedi. They have Padawans who are their trainees beneath them, They have this mystical power that they can wield known as the Force. They have these things called lightsabers, which are basically plasma swords. And then there's space travel. Like that is the bare minimum of Star Wars. And that's all you need to know. Um I am very okay with this as a getting to hardcore fan of Star Wars. It doesn't anger me that like, oh no, you need to read every single page of every single book to understand the first sentence of whatever is spoken in this Acolyte show. No, because I want more people to fall in love with Star Wars. And you can't do that when people have to do literally 4 years of homework. So I am okay with this and I love this. That Leslie Headland has created a piece of viewable media that has the essence of what Star Wars is at its core. I think that is great. Um, this has been elevator pitched as uh, the origins of the Sith, and that has been elaborated to more of like the awakening of the Sith, not necessarily the origins. And I will say this as well, as a little peek inside of the books, there is at least one reference to the was it legendary Sith or the ancient? I think it was the ancient Sith. So even in the books, there's never a crazy red lightsaber wielding menace that is like causing chaos throughout the galaxy. Nothing like Darth Maul or Darth Vader or Dooku or anybody like that. Nothing like a Palpatine. Um, so here we saw in the trailer that there is a red lightsaber. This is going to be something that the High Republic era of Jedi have not seen before. This is going to be a quote unquote new adversary, which is great for those who have the basic knowledge and have seen some of the movies because you connect dots. Ooh, wearing all black. Ooh, red lightsaber. Ooh, bad guy, you know? So I like this. The idea of the origins of the Sith or whatever is also something that we haven't really touched up on. We know from some books, whether that be in canon or outside of canon, like the steps that Palpatine took to get where he is in the Phantom Menace, and of course, going all the way into the Senate and eventually becoming the Emperor. It's going to be very fun to see how that gets started because, of course, in Revenge of the Sith, for those of you who have seen have seen the movie The Revenge of the Sith, Palpatine does talk to Anakin. It's like, oh, have you ever heard of the story of uh I was it Dark Plagueis, and talked about the tales of the dark side and all of that stuff. Like, is the 3 seasons of Acolyte going to be like where that originated? Like, that would be cool within itself. We get to see that. And that would be something that me, somebody who has been following the books and everything else, and somebody who has just general knowledge, get to share a first time experience with. That's even better. Um, I think that is what is going to be the best part of the Acolyte is yes, I can share insight on every minute detail of the High Republic, but when something like that is eventually shown, it's going to be brand new to me. I'm going to be stumped. You're going to be stumped. We're going to be amazed. You're going to be amazed. Like it's going to be an amazing time. Um but yeah, uh that's all I really have for like the basic concept of the High Republic. Cuz like I said before, I don't think any of the other characters other than Vernestra Rowe are going to be in this show. Now I did say, oh, we'll get to Vernestra Rowe. Vernestra is also kind of simplistic in the idea of Vernestra is a in here in the Acolyte is a Jedi Master. Um, Vernestra Rowe was a very young prodigy uh, who became a Jedi Knight at a very young age. Um, there has been in canon at the times of, I believe, uh, like the Clone Wars and I think that's really it for right now. Because again, going into like the High Republic stuff, don't need huge details into that right now. Um, but that of the Clone Wars, um, great example. Anakin became a Jedi Knight through his training with Obi Wan, but it accelerated his training when the Clone Wars started, and then he became a Jedi Knight. Um, Vernestra, just for being the prodigy that she was granted the rank of Jedi Knight, like just because. Like, uh, it says here in her little spiel, in the era of the High Republic, Jedi answered to the call to defend the galaxy from vile marauders known as the Nihil. Among their ranks was a young Vernestra Rowe. A Miri Allen is the type of alien that she is, a prodigy who became a Jedi Knight as a teenager. While she wasn't considered exceptionally powerful, her resolve and utter devotion to the Force made Vernestra stand apart from the other Padawans. Uh, it says here, by the time the Acolyte comes around, Vernestra is serving the Order as a Jedi Master and as a respected elder. Um, One of the big things that you're going to see that has already been highlighted in trailers and has been a very big talk of the town. Of course, it's something that I have already covered here on the show as well. But Vernestra's lightsaber is going to be very different from what everybody has seen in prior movies and TV shows. Uh, Her lightsaber is uh, a light whip. She has modified it to have it can be solid whenever she, of course, needs it to be, but she has a switch that alters her blade to become loose like a whip and uses it as such. So it's very, very cool. Um, the books that you can see Vernestra Rowe in, if anybody is interested, are books like A Test of Courage is the first book where she is a lead character in. So I would highly recommend reading that. It is a very fun book. And for the first wave, A Test of Courage was actually my number one favorite. Um, so again, highly, highly recommended. Um, there is also uh the oh shoot, what was the last book that we just uh I forgot the book that we just recently reviewed. It was oh my gosh, it's gonna be way too far now. I can't remember it off the top of my head. Um, 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 um oh gosh, I can't remember it. Oh well, it's lost. Dang it. Come on, it had to be Defy the Storm. Sorry, guys. Defy the Storm was the last book in this third phase, Trials of the Jedi. That she Vernestra goes through a dramatic change. I will go ahead and say that. I'm not going to say anything specific in case things are revealed in the show. Uh, Vernestra, of course, is a prodigy. She's very smart. She is ambitious. She evolves immensely as a character from when you first see her in phase one to where she currently is in phase three. I can only imagine what she has been through from where we are going to end with her in the books to where she is now in the Acolyte. Um, so I'm very, very excited to see who she has become, especially as a Jedi Master, because again, her being granted the rank of knight at a very young age, I can only assume that she was also granted master at possibly a very young age. Um, and maybe we'll get that as well in this. So we shall see how things turn out. I am just now realizing that this entire time I had the background from last week's show and not this week's show. That's gonna bother me. And I mean, the episode's nearly over here on YouTube. So ugh. Anyway, um, yeah. Uh the character of Vernesha is gonna be portrayed by Rebecca Henderson, uh, who is actually, I believe, the wife of Leslie Headland. So I think that is very, very cool. But yeah, let's see here. Trying to think of anything else from Vernestra. Um, from what we have seen in the trailer, I'm not necessarily sure Vernestra is going to be a huge highlight. I think she is just going to be there as a little bit of fan service, a lot of oohing and eyeing, especially with her lightsaber. I think she is just a small treat for the fans of the novels, um, which is not a bad thing. I think again, because this is new territory as far as the timeline goes, it is okay to bring in quote unquote new blood. Um, I always love the introduction of new characters because it means I can fall in love with new characters all over again. And then I can be like, oh, this character was like this person, or this character is like this person. So it's just what I do. It's going to be a lot of fun. But it says here, moving forward, the Force eventually guided Vernestra to the planet. Actually, not gonna read that. Because again, don't know if any of this is going to be uh revealed to the public in the show. So, yeah, I think that is it. She is very recently, other than the you will probably see her first in the Acolyte on June 4th, but on June 11th is the release of Temptations of the Force, where she does have a part in that. Again, I have already read and reviewed that book, and that episode will be releasing on the same day as our episode 2 of the Acolyte review. So be on the lookout for that. Guys, I just want to thank you so much for joining me today, listening in, whether that be, you know, at the dead of night, in the morning when you're going to work, or just throughout the day. Um, I actually went on a little bit longer than I actually thought I would. So, again, thank you guys so much for being here. Katie, please come back. I'm very surprised that I can just keep blabbing for a full 45 minutes, but it is what it is. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Of course, you can always find me at Fanboy Clay on Twitter and any and all social media. Recently, Multiverses is back up, and I will be probably playing and streaming that. I forgot how fun that game is. So you can find me on Twitch doing that. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. So go find me there. And Ranger Alliance, of course, I am a part of Ranger Alliance as well. Me, Jake, and Joe all got together to review Turbo, a Power Rangers Turbo movie. That's a mouthful. And that will be releasing next week. So that'll be a lot of fun as well. It was a lot of fun. I love when all three of us can get together and joke around and talk about the nonsense that is Power Rangers. So go check that out when it releases. Again, like I said, the Temptations of the Force review is coming out as well very, very soon. But guys, always remember the Force is with you. Bye.